Last time on Take One, Florida's Don't Say Gay bill, the Queen of England, and the Oscars. On this week's episode, storming the court at Extra Mile Arena, Women's History Month, and Just for Laughs, cocaine hippos, and Portland's Pickles. These stories and more up next on Take One. Welcome to Take One. I'm Grace Swanke. History took place at Extra Mile Arena last week when the Boise State men's basketball team secured the Mountain West Championship after beating Nevada. As soon as the game ended, students began to storm the court. Security held a rope around the court in attempts to keep fans off, but many pushed right through. Several fans made it onto the court and celebrated the big win with players as confetti shot through the air. However, several students were still trying to break through security. Many videos have surfaced online of security guards punching, throwing, and even pushing students. The day after the game, Extra Mile Arena took to Twitter apologizing, saying that they deeply regret and apologize for the way in which the staff responded to fans trying to get onto the court following last night's men's basketball game. They admitted that they had failed to implement the post-game security plan that was developed in advance to the game in consultation with the athletics department. Moving forward, a third party will be investigating the review, and Boise State has said that they will work with athletics on finding a special way for our students to celebrate the men's basketball team's Mountain West Championship. Now, over to you, Christy.
Thanks, Grace. Last week, Time Magazine released their Women of the Year list, featuring 12 extraordinary leaders who are working toward a more equal world. Throughout Women's History Month, we're going to be highlighting a few of them each week here on Take One. First up, we've got Amal Clooney, who has worked as a lawyer to defend her clients by combining law with an incisive understanding of politics, pragmatism, and public advocacy. Amal says her work is focused on trying to help liberate victims and prosecute perpetrators. She particularly focuses on defending journalists and women. Next, we have Zahra Joya, who was only 5 years old when the Taliban took power in her home country, Afghanistan. This year, Joya was forced to flee her country due to the collapse of the Afghan government, but still remains dedicated to her mission as a journalist, which is to continue telling the stories of women still in Afghanistan. Joya says she is trying to write for freedom. Our last highlight for today is Kacey Musgraves, the singer-songwriter who is navigating a male-dominated industry with honesty and confidence. Kacey says, "I would rather go down in flames for something I really believe in than present a watered-down version of myself that may make me more money." Now, over to Jenna with a Broncos sports update.
Thanks, Christy. The NFL Combine happened this week, and Boise State alumni wide receiver Khalil Shakir ended up running a 4.35 in his first 40, so congratulations on that amazing accomplishment. It is Mountain West tournament time here for Boise State basketball, so let's get right into this week's Broncos sports update with me, Jenna Vitamanti. The Broncos are officially in Las Vegas competing to become the conference champions. Women's basketball entered the tournament as the number 10 seed, and men's basketball has entered leading the conference in number 1 for the regular season. The first men's game will be played on Thursday, March 10th, with the championship game to be played on Saturday, March 12th at 3 p.m. Mountain Time on CBS. Softball played in the Wildcat Invitational in Tucson, Arizona this past weekend and are gearing up for their first home game on Friday, March 18th against Fresno State. The Broncos currently have an overall standing of 16-4. With winter sports officially wrapping up and spring sports just getting started, there are so many exciting games to stay up to date on. So as always, go Broncos. Now, let's see what the Love Shack has for us this week.
As you can see, Madeline is not here with me today, but I guess it's okay because I did this to her a few weeks ago. But don't worry, I have a really informal topic for you guys. So, it's something that I tend to struggle with, and honestly, the reason why I am single, the ick. And if you don't know what the ick is, it's, here, let me spell it out for you. When, you like somebody, you guys are hitting it off, texting, snapping, whatever, and then they just do one thing. Insignificant, big, whatever it may be. Disgusting, gross, ghosted. And it literally could be anything. Some big ones are, mean to their mom, mean to the waiter or waitress. Or, if you're like me, it could be something super insignificant that really doesn't mean anything. For example, I went on a date a few weeks ago. We went bowling, and you know the walk. After you do your turn, you turn around, you come back, and it's just so awkward. And it just was gross, and it turned me off, and we're ghosted. Yeah, he's ghosted. But maybe don't be like me, because it's probably why I'm single. So there you go. That is the ick, and let's send it back to Lacey and Daniel in the spec.
Thanks, Jordynn. So, Dan, I gotta know, what gives you the ick?
Whatever Pete Davidson, his stitch, that's just the ick for me right now. I can't take it. It's too much.
That's fair. Well, speaking of which, SNL star Pete Davidson made more than just one news story last week. For starters, he is reportedly in talks with Jeff Bezos to arrange a shared orbit around the planet after a dinner where the two hit it off. While no plans are finalized, I like to imagine that Mr. Jeffrey was so intrigued by the contrast between his bald, wrinkly head and Davidson's youthful 90s frosted tips that he just had to offer him a ride into space. And speaking of stars, rapper Kanye West, who is recently divorced from Pete Davidson's current girlfriend, Kim Kardashian, released his new music video for Easy, featuring claymation scenes depicting himself kidnapping and decapitating Davidson, planting his head in the ground, and watering flowers on top of it. West responded to criticism with an Instagram caption defending it as freedom of speech. West stated that any claim of it as a proxy for ill or harm is false. But with the lyrics, "God save me from this crash just so I could beat Pete Davidson's ass," it's hard to imagine that Kanye doesn't have any ill will towards him. But honestly, who can blame him when Pete Davidson looks 45 at age 20 and still dresses like the coolest kid in the 7th grade? That's practically begging to get your ass beat. Either way, whether it's Bezos or Kanye West, someone is trying to get him sent to the heavens.
Sometimes I get a little jealous of Pablo Escobar. Then I learned recently about his cocaine hippos and became way more jealous. Did you know Escobar had a ranch in Colombia where he kept all sorts of illegally imported animals on his property? Can't blame the guy though. If I had that much money, I would buy a bunch of weird stuff too. But just how illegal is this compared to his other business ventures? Anywho, his cocaine hippos are back in the news pending litigation to have them identified as an invasive species. After homeboy Escobar died in 1993, his cocaine hippos were left abandoned on his ranch. Many of his other imported animals, like his giraffes, were taken by conservationists, but his cocaine hippos were left alone. Since his death, the cocaine hippos have reproduced with one another, only natural. After many hot and steamy buns baking in the oven, the hippos have made a sizable population and have even migrated to local rivers. Despite all of this, the locals are actually huge fans of the hippos. They're even providing pushback on the government's attempt to control their population. One resident was even attacked by one while fishing, but still stands up for their support, declaring they're no longer African hippos, they are Colombian. On the contrary, some blockhead scientists raised concerns about them not having a natural predator in that environment and how they're causing a danger to biodiversity, yada, 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 stuff like that. Like, who on earth is going to take on a cocaine hippo? I say they take their rinky-dinky lab coats back to Dexter's laboratory and cry to their mama about it. Just let the cocaine hippos be cocaine hippos, man.
Dan, I gotta know, would you like to house any cocaine hippos?
Definitely. Just the only issue, I don't have the amount of money Pablo Escobar does to take care of hippos, so.
I don't see why that's stopping you.
True. Now, let's go out to Kerry for some elevator pitches.
Thank you, Lacey and Daniel. My name is Kerry Loughran, and you heard it. We're doing elevator pitches for this remote segment, where our guests will have 15 seconds to tell us where they stand on a hot topic. We have 3 special guests with us here today. We have Riley, Aaron, and Felicity. Our hot topic is how dogs wear their pants. As I pull up my timer, Riley, you are going to go first. You have 15 seconds. Go.
I think it depends, but if dogs wore pants, I think that it would cover all 4 of their legs and also up onto their back a little bit to cover their butt.
All right, we got that in 8.61 seconds. Aaron, are you prepared?
Hopefully.
All right, you have 15 seconds. Go.
All right, well, I'll have to disagree with Riley because I think it's just the pants that only cover the hind legs. Because if a dog stands up, then how are they going to be able to stand up on their hind legs if the pants cover their front legs?
All right. Got that one in 11 seconds. Felicity, are you prepared?
Yeah.
All right, you have 15 seconds. Go.
Okay, I really like the option that's like the two-piece. I think it's really cute for summer, and I think it actually is really good outfit inspiration for me. I think I'm going to try to make an outfit like that. Just jeans, two-piece, yeah.
All right, we got that one in 12 seconds and some fashion advice. Thank you guys very much. And now we will toss it to Commodore Wiesel in the spec.
Wow, thanks, Kerry. The mascot of the collegiate baseball team, the Portland Pickles, caused quite a fuss earlier this year. Dylan T. Pickle was in the Dominican Republic, making an appearance at a Caribbean baseball series. He was due to arrive back in Oregon just before the new year. The team, which is known for being goofy and joking around on social media, has insisted that this isn't a joke, and knows that some people may see this as a boy who cried wolf scenario. In early February, Delta Airlines delivered the missing luggage containing the mascot. However, it was after hours to the Pickles office, and they failed to notify anyone. The next morning, the Ring doorbell caught someone stealing the package off of the doorstep. The team took to social media begging the people of Portland to bring him back safe and sound. A few days later, that's exactly what happened. Dylan was found on a bus and later dropped off at the Voodoo Donuts location on the southeast Portland. The person who returned this beloved mascot requested to stay anonymous. However, it looks like this pickle had a happy ending after all. Now, back to our friends in the 360 studio.
Thanks, Commodore Wiesel. This week, United Airlines announced their United Aviate Academy flight school. Following a massive shortage, the program was created in order to recruit and train an entirely new generation of pilots. But what makes it so special? Well, the company's goal is to have upwards of 50% of the candidates be women and people of color, two groups that are massively underrepresented in the profession. Currently, 94% of aircraft pilots are men and 93% are white. Allison McKay, the CEO of Women in Aviation International, says that this outcome is most likely because of white men previously in the military or with family connections to aviation. Along with this, the cost of flight school has reached about $100,000 in recent years, and that has become one of the largest obstacles for those looking to become pilots. No federal aid or student loan programs are applicable. United Airlines is not the only company seeking to change this narrative. Delta has recently partnered with HBCUs to offer scholarships for flight schools, and Alaska Airlines is teamed up with Sisters in the Sky, a nonprofit seeking to hire more Black female pilots. United is also paying for partial private pilot certification and providing scholarships and financial aid to those who attend their new flight school. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks to all the crew and writers for this episode. I'm Grace Swanke.
I'm Christy Amstutz.
And I'm Jenna Vitamanti. Join us next time for episode 59. We'll see you next time on Take One.